Okay, so I'm just thought I'd make a video to kind of show you all the different MC stuff that you can use with this kiddo of yours to get him blending and maybe a little bit more engaged and self-regulated. I'll just show you, I think I'm gonna show you three things. And then I'll show you where all of this is in SharePoint. And if you want, I can send you, just share my Google Drive with you if that's a little bit easier, because everything in SharePoint is like in PowerPoint because it's a Microsoft thing. So it made it all like Microsoft type stuff. So it's in PowerPoint instead of Google Slides. So depending on what you want, either way, I can send you a link or you can use the stuff in the SharePoint. But anyway, so the first thing I'm going to show you is what a full MC lesson looks like. And then I'll show you some different pieces of those lessons that you can just pull out and use with your kiddo for whatever you need. Okay, so whatever skill you're working on. I do want to just let you know, like, don't be afraid to stop Take Flight. Take Flight is a curriculum. It is designed for kiddos that are, needed intervention, that have already kind of gone through first grade and had some exposure to language. And it's also designed for kids that have no other coexisting conditions like ADHD or behavioral issues, that kind of thing. So my little kiddo has really strong anxiety. I'm going to guess probably oppositional defiant disorder. So we have a lot of things going on in our lessons, and this is what has seemed to help with him. So hopefully it'll help your kiddo too. All right, so the first thing I'm going to show you is a full lesson, and I'll try to go through it quickly, but give you enough information that you feel comfortable enough, especially if you're in training. It's kind of hard to know when you're in training and you haven't seen the full scope of a curriculum yet, what to do and like how to leave that and be okay with that. So let me show you. The first thing I'm going to show you is a full lesson okay, so let's just say we want to do compound words because that's really not something Take Flight goes over, but let me see. When you open up, let me go back here so we can see. When you open up one of these files, this is the first grade curriculum from IMSE. All right. And the second slide will have all of what you need to work on. So once your kiddo gets used to the CVC words and blending them fluently, then you can use these to go on to the R blends, the L blends, the S blends, and then those ending blends that are really difficult, those nasal, all of that, the NG, the NK, those are really, really, really hard for dyslexics. So I recommend that's part of the reason why I'm showing you the first grade one, because it really helps with those blends, but I don't do the blends until you've got the CVC down. Okay. But let me just show you kind of what a normal lesson looks like. It would be the floss lesson here. So that would give you a spelling situation. That's a lesson. This gives you the open and closed syllable, which is another, thing that we have to teach in Take Flight. And we don't have really good visuals for that. Let me just show you the floss lesson. Let's just go there. So we go to lesson 2, and then you do the slideshow, and it'll take it a minute to load because it's such a large file. You can break these down into smaller files if you want, but I just always use the big file, and you can also customize them any way you want. Okay, so say you're teaching the floss lesson. I think this is lesson 25 in Take Flight, but this is a spelling situation, a spelling rule that you would teach, right? So the MC curriculum, it mirrors Take Flight a little bit. It's got a visual drill, an auditory drill, a blending drill, and then vowel intensive, and then it introduces the new concept, and then it goes into phonemic decoding and connected text, and then phonemic awareness, spelling, dictation, all that. So it has the same elements, they're just kind of in a little different order. So the first part is the visual drill, and that is where kids are just going to give you either the sound or the letter name. All right. And this is what I love about it. These self-regulation techniques here where eyes appear, and their eyes are drawn to the screen. In 3, 2, 1, calm your body, who looks ready to learn. Max looks ready to learn. He's sitting up straight with his eyes on me. He gets a star. And so this is when I immediately give them, whatever, behavioral incentive that you're using. Some kids, I don't have to use anything. They're good. And they just want to sit there and listen and learn. And that's great. And other kids, I have to use something, whether, I give them a star and that's enough, just that they got a star. And then they see how many stars they can get. Or sometimes I arrange with mom or dad, like, okay, once we hit 10 stars, they can, get a special treat from mom and dad, or you can do a special treat from you. So maybe one lesson we get to play a game instead of, doing take flight, or one lesson I read to you for half the lesson, working on oral language and comprehension stuff. So whatever works for your kiddo, I have different things for different kiddos. So one kid wants cold hard cash. He's not getting it, but that's his mom and dad do, but that's a decision for you and your parents to make. But anyway, again, that self-regulation and then reward system. And then they just have these cool graphics. The boys especially love these. So they would give you either the sound or the letter or both, depending on the level of your kid. And you would work through these, and these are totally customizable for, whatever you're working on. If you only are, they're only having trouble with SH and CH, those digraphs, then just put those in there and drill those, right? Then the next step is the auditory drill. This is the same, this is our ISD, intake flight. So they just put it together, right? Instead of right before spelling, they do it right after the visual drill. So here you would just give them the sound and they would write the letter. So you could put your take flight paper on this screen. I've done that before. I've just changed out this sand. It's supposed to be sand, like they write in the sand. And I just put my take flight paper in there, and or you can leave it as sand and just have them show you their whiteboard or whatever, unless if they don't need that model, right, of you doing it with them. If they do need that model, then you might want to switch to the take flight paper, or totally switch out of this and just go to your take flight paper in OneNote or something like that and have them write the letter. And then this is the blending drill that I'm going to show you separate blending drills that you can just use outside of the full lesson. I'm not saying to totally switch to IMSE's curriculum. I'm not saying that. I'm saying use this as a way to create more engaging lessons for take flight curriculum. Okay. So the blending drill here is so cool. They just, the car moves along. So they'll say the first sound, and then you said, blend it together, vet, right? And as they get more proficient at this, you can say to them, all right, beat the car, ready? Vet, and they'll beat the car, right? And you have control by just clicking your mouse. All right, it's not time. So you can slow it down or speed it up however you want. So you just go through all these, and these again are customizable. So if your kid is really having trouble with those B and D's, reversals, and just not getting it, you can put a lot of B and D's in there, right? Or if they're having trouble with just that short U sound, you can just put short U's in there, right? And it grows with the kids. So eventually there'll be blends and things like that in there also that you can have them work on together. So, and then again, it gives them good work and the self-regulation, stop in your seat, eyes here, 3, 2, 1, calm your body. Again, just teaching that self-regulation, and then they get a reward for that. The next part of the lesson is vowel intensive. And so if you have I can't remember in your email if you said they were struggling with some of the vowel sounds, but one of the things that IMSE does, I think, really well is have them really listen for those vowel sounds. And you can do it at the word level or the phoneme level. So at first you'll just start off with and they'll tell you that's A, and they can either write it, or IMSE has these little these little things you can print out and put on like a popsicle stick. And so they have all 5 vowels together, and they have to listen, for what is the vowel? And then they have to find their A and hold up the A, or you could have them write it. I mean, you don't have to get all fancy like that. Or you could have them say it. And then you could do also the syllable level too. So you could say black. What vowel sound do you hear? Black. Echo, black. And then they say and then they hold up their A or write the A, right? and you know, depending on how many vowels you've taught at this point, I can't remember. I think you said you were on lesson 7 or something like that, but you just add 2, right? You add them in as you teach them. You wouldn't start with all of them. And then you can even use this once they get into, you know, short vowel, long vowel, then, you know, you can use it to kind of teach those long vowels too. When I say A, and this is really easy, right? But when they get in a word, like you could say black, Blake, A, and that is the long sound, short sound, right? So again, use it, don't use it. This is more for kids that are really struggling with the vowel sounds, okay? And totally customizable to whatever words you want to use. And whether you want to, you can even do syllables, even if, you know, and then new concept. So this is the, you know, new teaching or our discovery in Take Flight. And so the discovery in this lesson is the floss rule. And so they give, like, for the spelling situations, I think they do a much better job than Take Flight of, you know, giving kind of a way to think through, you know, the process of this certain spelling situation. Sorry, I don't know, my brain's just not finding the words, but so you go through this process. Does it have one syllable? Does it have one short vowel? Does it have, you know, the S, L, F, or Z sound at the end? This one teaches Z. I know Take Flight doesn't, but if yes, to all double the final consonant, right? So, and then there's this mnemonic, Sammy loves friendly zebras. Take Flight doesn't have that. They use the floss rule. So you can use the floss rule instead if you wanted and talk about the word floss. You can totally change this however you wanted, but I just wanted to show you a different way and how it's just a little bit more engaging than pulling your Take Flight smartboard up and writing, you know, that whole long equation, right? That some kids are like, what? You know, anyway. So then there's the brainstorming. So this is the phonemic awareness and auditory part of it, again, of the new concept. Let's think of some words. And I usually say, let's think of some words that end in the S, the sound, and let's see if they have one vowel and one syllable. Oh, we should double that, right? And if they're having trouble, then you can add these pictures, right, to get them to do that. And again, then we would practice writing them. That's what that stand is for. And then they always have a decodable that you guys can read together and that covers the skill and with comprehension questions. And then here's another one of those regulation techniques to give them a little bit of break and a little, if you have a wiggly one, right? They know these brain breaks are coming when you use this system. So, you know, they know they're going to sit still for a little bit, but then they're going to get a brain break and they can get up and move. And they have different ones. This one is 5-star jumps. So we act like we're starfishes, jump like that, you know, in their seat. There are other ones that are flamingo hops, penguin waddles, dolphin spins, and we act like dolphins, you know, and it's really fun for the younger kids. If you have a serious kid, they're not going to think it's fun, but, you know, it's there. So then they 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop, back in your seat, self-regulation. It's time to pay attention again. 3, 2, 1, calm your body. Who looks ready to learn? Max is ready to learn, sitting up straight with his eyes on me. Yay, you get another star. Look how many stars you have, you know, that's kind of thing. Okay. They put the literature part, oral language, right in the middle of the lesson. Again, that's different from Take Flight. We have C Day, right? And this is just for the teacher to show you what has been taught already. So when you're trying to figure out what words you want them to spell and all that, but you've got Take Flight for that. So you don't have to worry about that. Finger tapping, this is their phonemic awareness. They do not have mouth pictures. So this would be a point where you could, you know, just go back to your tray and use your Take Flight materials and do the phonemic awareness. I'm not telling you to break fidelity with Take Flight at all. I'm telling you that sometimes we have kiddos that is just, it's Take Flight is too cerebral for them. For example, my kid, that tray, I tried and tried, but his tray was on the floor more than it was in his lap. His tray was on the floor. The mouth pictures were scattered from one end of the room to the other. And I'm not kidding you, I spent probably 10 minutes per lesson just getting him to get his tray out. Okay, even though it was like already out, mom already had it out, right? Getting him to get his tray. And he didn't like the, you know, he's one of these that didn't like the position like the way it looked didn't look right to him. It wasn't perfectly aligned. He's very OCD about that stuff. And so we would spend 10 minutes getting them all perfectly aligned. And then I kid you not, literally something would happen as he was sitting down or getting up or moving around, and he would flip that tray and everything would be all a mess. So we just decided the best thing for him is to use his fingers, finger tapping, or counters, like just plain old Legos or something like that. But he's really good with his fingers. So we just stuck with that. And then I move the mouth pictures on my smart. So that's how I do this part of the lesson. Okay. So I go back to the take flight with the mouth pictures, because that's very helpful, especially for kids that are severe dyslexic. And we want to remain, true to the program. But yeah, so, do what you can, because at the end of the day, we got to teach the kid to read. And we got to teach the kid to hear the sounds. So if the tray and all of that is getting in the way, have yours up, have them try to manipulate as much as possible. I mean, I'm not telling you not to do that. It's just the realistic aspect of this is, though, if the tray is on the floor for 20 minutes of the lesson and you can't get anything accomplished because they're so focused on the tray and getting them, I don't know. Yeah, to me, that's not teaching them anything. But anyway. All right, so finger tap, this is the phonology part, or the phonological awareness part. And then this is spelling, right? They have a spelling, body check. So they do all of these wonderful self-regulation strategies. This is the way you should look. Do you look that way as you're about to write? Or is your foot up on the desk? Are you sitting with both feet on the floor, right? Is your paper slanted a little bit? Are you have both hands on your paper? And then so we talk about those things. We have a sentence frame. A sentence begins with a capital letter, has subject and a predicate, ends with punctuation, is complete thought. We do that. Well, they have cups. Okay, so you can use either one. You can put your take flight picture in here of the sentence frame and go over that sentence definition, or you can use cups. It is your sentence capitalized? Does it make sense? Is it a complete thought? Did you punctuate it? And is all your spelling correct? Okay. And then they have dictation sentences. They use red words. They have red words instead of instant words. I just use take flight instant words. I don't even mess with the red words. They use like a grid thing and a red crayon, and they write over it, and then they can feel the letters. I don't know. I just use take flight and the method that they use in there. So anyway, that's pretty much it on a full lesson. And you can see they're totally customizable. The open and closed concept is probably another one you probably need to review with your kiddo. And you can see they have these cool, you've probably seen these before. Oh my gosh, it's taking me forever to get there. Oh, here it is. But you can see it defines the closed syllable and an open syllable and uses that door. And then it has the kids practice them, bet, and then the next one, the door will be open, B, and you can go back and forth between, open and closed. And this is another visual, that just helps kiddos with that. So I love that they have these types of things that I can just pull, even if it's just for the teach piece or the discovery piece of take flight. I can pull these and make it a little bit more interesting, right? If they exist. The other thing I'm going to show you are the blending boards. And these blending boards, you can make them be anything that interests your kiddo. So my kiddo was really, really interested in dinosaurs. So we have this dinosaur one, and I would change out the dinosaur each week, and he would tell me what, this is a T-Rex, this is a Brontosaurus, this is a Pteranodon, this is a whatever, pterodactyl, and he would name them, and which one is it going to be next week? So you can change those out as you become more accustomed to using these. I know that's a lot more work, but there's a lot that's already been done for you. So I'll show you. There's like a unicorn one. There's for every season, every holiday. Those have already been done, and they're in the SharePoint. So you can just pull them and create, with the words that you want to practice. So again, it's the same concept as the blending board in the lesson, and they just go map. Beat the dinosaur, map. Okay, maybe pizza, I don't know. And then the next one, you would put these in here. These are blanks, and you would, make them yours. And then you just copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, and change the letters. Okay. So that's just one piece. If you're just working on blending and getting that automaticity down, then you can just use these. And I created several for the early wraps intake flight that are in the SharePoint. So you don't even have to do that work. Like I just took the wrap words, or the words from the wraps in take flight, and put them on these blending boards. And that really helped my kiddo a lot. We just practiced and practiced and drilled and drilled. The other thing I'll show you is there's complete fluency like slides for a kindergarten level and first grade level. So any concept, like all of the vowels, all the consonants that you would want to work on, CVC is in kindergarten. And then the blends are in the first grade curriculum. So once he gets the CVC down and you want to move on to blends, you'll have those blends also. And the way they treat those blends is they put them together. So say you have a SL, those will be like on one piece of the blending board. And so they'll learn that that's slow, and they say the word was slop, slop, right? Slop. And they'll learn to put those together really, really quickly. Same thing with the ending blends, right? The NK is going to go on one of those little, pictures on those blending boards, and it'll be, so they'll learn that together and see it together, and hopefully that'll transfer over to spelling too. But anyway, this is another thing that I send home. I create and send home with either a wrap page, or I just use whatever they've already created here. And I can send this link to mom, and mom pulls it up on the iPad, the computer, whatever. And then they can go along and do this, practice their words together, right? And you can see it's just following the car along. And then as more and more words that they get, then they have sentences also. And so they say each word in the sentence, the pup was a pug, and then fluently, the pup was a pug. And you can practice. So you practice each word and then as a complete sentence. And then there's another one. It's got questions. So you can practice, inflection in the voice, etc. Okay. So those are all in SharePoint under, let's see. So you go to Dyslexia On Demand, and then these IMSE materials. There's freebies here. They put out a freebie, like I think every Wednesday or Friday. Oh, I think it's Friday freebies. Anyway, so look, if you go to their website or their Facebook page, they'll have a new one every week or so, or they used to. I don't know if they still are, but they used to. Here's the blending boards that I talked about. These are all zip files, so you'll have to open them and download them to get them, and they'll open in PowerPoint. But if you want the Google Slides version, I'll just send you a link to my folder if you want. And then here's the wraps I created, so you can see. I'll just open it so you can see. So there, by the lesson number, right? So lesson 5, lesson 7, and you can just download those. And there's a shark one. This is pretty cool. The water is pretty cool on that one. So anyway, those are my tips for blending and how I got my little kiddo to focus and to be fluent in blending those CVC words. And then we went on to blends. And once we got that done, then we kind of went back to take flight and started, learning more and more combinations. And he finished book 3 in December, but I wasn't real happy with the fluency that he had. He could, individually name the sounds. Like if I showed him AR, he could say R, but when he got to the words, still struggling with the blending. So we are backing up and we are doing all this kind of stuff with those concepts in book 3 before we move on to book 4. I hope this helps. Message me if you have any other questions, but I think if you do this, that'll really help with the automaticity and hopefully be more engaging than take flight.